Guys, welcome to the channel, World of Wrestling. You know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And also leave a comment down below after you get a chance to watch this video. It's a great episode of Smackdown. I can't believe that's coming out of my mouth. But I actually enjoyed the show, so enjoy the intro. And we'll be right back with this review on Smackdown, July 23rd or 24th of 2020. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the intro to this episode of Smackdown, July 24th, 2020 review. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier in the video, I stated this show was decent, and it certainly was. It was a really entertaining show. It had one segment in the show, which I will get into, and I felt like it was an absolute disgrace. And there was one other thing that I didn't like that started off the show. And I thought this show was going to be a fucking terrible show after I heard it. The first thing that comes out of Jeff Hardy's mouth, and he's the first thing you see on your television screen, is he says that he's Jeff Hardy and he's an alcoholic. That's right, folks. He's Alcoholic Anonymous. He's acting as if he's in a alcoholic recovery or rehab. What the fuck, man? What are we doing here? He doesn't need to be talking anymore about he's an alcoholic. I get we're having a bar fight, but what the fuck? Quit going into his personal life. It's not needed. It's stupid. But anyway, the bar fight was pretty entertaining, hard-hitting stuff, I have to say. And I loved the ending, which I'll get into with you guys. And they did make Jeff Hardy win this matchup, which I was very happy to see. I'm glad they didn't bury him into the ground with a loss to Sheamus again. And this time, overcoming his demons, did not have an ounce of alcohol on his lips, which I think was fantastic. And I'm glad they did not do that, because if they did, I think they would have been very disrespectful to the man to do something like that. On top of that, guys, I mean, we had some pretty good action, too. I mean, some really good wrestling. But again, you'll hear a little bit of ranting, because once again, WWE is illogical. They're fucking stupid. They don't know how to put on a good show and make sense of it. When they have something good, they don't know how to keep it going throughout the entire show. There's always got to be one thing they do that's disrespectful or an insult to our intelligence. So we'll definitely get into that. It had something to do with the Intercontinental title match. Number one contender for the Intercontinental title. And then on top of that, we're getting shit about Naomi and give Naomi a chance, which I am all for, even though I'm not a fan of Naomi, and I don't think she's all that big of a deal. She is highly, she's got a lot of charisma, more charisma than Roman Reigns ever had. in his entire career. So I gotta give her that much credit. She's just not my cup of tea, but because she's not my cup of tea, I shouldn't be against her on her career and her advancement, because a majority of people want to see her succeed. I don't have any problem with her succeeding. I think she has a lot of charisma. I just never got into Naomi. That's my thing. But bottom line, guys, she had a promo, guys, that seemed like fucking CM Punk. It was great. It wasn't as gritty and dirty as CM Punk put it. If Vince McMahon died, maybe WWE would be better off, kind of stuff. But she was taking shots at how she's been treated in WWE. So I really enjoyed that. The way they kickstarted the show was outstanding. Of course, they went with Sasha Banks and Bayley to kick off their show, and they did a fantastic job. Sasha Banks and Bayley, at first, I was saying I can't stomach them. But I'm glad they were getting the main event spot in the women's division. And now they are looking better than ever. They were fucking great tonight. I mean, absolutely fucking fantastic. There was nothing about them that stuck out at me as being bad. I mean, they were freaking great. They promoted a promo to kickstart the show that was fantastic. Just to go in a little bit of what they talked about, here's what they said. So we go right to the ring. Out come the women tag team champions, of course, Sasha Banks and SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley. Banks is still in the possession of Asuka's Raw Women's title, and we see how she got the belt during the horror show at WWE Extreme Rules. We also see how Bayley retained the Women's Championship over Nikki Cross at Extreme Rules last Sunday. Banks and Bayley go on about how great they are. They declare that the women's evolution is over, it started with them, and it's ending with them. They introduced a new era. The era of Sasha Banks and Bayley. Loved it. They go on running their mouths and taunting fans at home, saying they'll never be as good as they are. The music interrupts and out comes Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Cross is furious. She yells at Banks and Bayley about what they've done and says their era is already over. Banks and Bayley taunt her, and then Bliss isn't so sure about this because Cross is wild and carrying on. Cross mentions having cracked ribs from Extreme Rules. She goes on and wants a title shot. Now is what she demanded. Bayley jokes around some more, calling them sheep. She says she won a Extreme Rules fair and square, but she wants to do what's right. Bayley announces that Cross can have a title shot if she beats a former champion, a future Hall of Famer. Bliss did not agree with the word future Hall of Famer because, to me, outside of this match, which with with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, she hasn't had a good fucking match in a very long time. And by the way, they have this match to determine a number one contender to face Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship next week. And would you know it, Alexa Bliss puts on a decent match. Holy shit, I'm actually saying that. Decent match with Alexa Bliss attached to it. That is unusual. Very, very unusual for me to be saying Alexa Bliss putting on a good match. The last time I've seen Alexa Bliss put on a good matchup was back in 2016 when she was on the Smackdown brand, when she first started out on the main roster. People were clamoring about this woman. Now she's turned into a lazy bum. I don't know if that's the correct word to use, but she is not doing a whole lot. Here, she did an outstanding job. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss went at it for a while. This match took about 20 minutes, and my goodness, people, it was a great match. This is a 3.5 out of 5 stars, hands down, without a doubt. Good matchup by these two women. Following that, by the way, throughout the entire match, Alexa Bliss, or not Alexa Bliss, I'm sorry guys, Sasha Banks and Bayley were great on the fucking commentary as guest commentaries. They did a great job. They were making fun of Michael Cole, and I mean, he is a fucking tool to this day. He is Vince McMahon's tool to making bad commentary, and he is shit. But these two women were great, and I gotta admit, if they didn't want to wrestle at this point in time, they would make great heel commentators. I think they would be fucking great. They'd make Jerry the King Lawler look pathetic. As heel commentators, I should say. So, they did a great job. They were running their mouths. They were very funny. They got knocked on their asses by Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross during the match, which I thought was absolutely funny as shit. And right back from commercial break, they're right up and at 'em, back at commentary, and they're talking away, talking smack, doing their thing. Absolutely loved it. I hope that next week's Raw, we see Sasha Banks officially become the Raw Women's Champion. She deserves it. She really does. And I honestly think that she is worthy enough to be the champ. Even though, yeah, she's on Smackdown and so forth. But let's get real, guys. Bayley and Sasha Banks are ruling the women's division on the main roster of WWE. Without them, there wouldn't be a women's division right now. They would be in shambles. They would be in worse condition when Trish Stratus and Lita were wrestling. So, kudos to them. I hope they get to both carry championship gold from both brands and eventually unify those two titles together, maybe at Survivor Series, and then later bring back their rivalry to WrestleMania, where one of them wins the Royal Rumble to get a shot at the women's title. So if they go that route, I would love to see that. I think that would be fantastic. So I definitely look forward to seeing that, and I hope that's what happens, at least. I don't want them to compete over just the SmackDown Women's Championship. I want to see those two championship belts unified as one. We have one women's champion. No more of this SmackDown Raw Women's Champion shit. And we actually get just one women's champion, and that is it. So, that's the way I look at it. Let me know what you guys think about that idea, and I'll definitely get back to you on that. So, following that, we had the Firefly Funhouse. So we get a look back at the non-title Wyatt swamp fight between Bray Wyatt and WWE Universal Champion Braun Strowman. We get a lot of bull hockey and bullshit throughout the entire thing, showing highlights of what happened. And so after that, we see Wyatt in the Firefly Funhouse. He jokes about Strowman being down in the bottom of the swamp and how it's 100% organic. The Wyatt-head lantern is sitting on the table and is communicating with him. Wyatt says he can't let Wyatt back out to have another chance at Strowman because it's his chance now, him being the Fiend. Wyatt says he has been unleashed. We see flashes of the Fiend. Wyatt laughs, waves goodbye. Colin Graves comment on how the Fiend has been unleashed, and that's bad for Strowman. That's pretty much that. I gotta admit, I would absolutely fucking love if Bray Wyatt one day went ahead and said to himself, you know what, enough of being part of the WWE machine. I want to go about doing my own thing. If he went into acting in horror movies and played a evil villain type character, I would so go see his movies and see how he does in a role like that. Because I think he is fucking great. The guy has got a mind of creativity. I mean, he is shackled and chained with his ability to move up in the company and do what he really wants to do. And that's really be the head heel, the full-fledged heel that he could be. And yet they keep holding him back. Why? I have no idea. I think it's absolutely absurd and absolutely ridiculous. So, that's just my feelings on that. Alright, so we get a match with Matt Riddle and Tony Nese. This match was an alright match, but it didn't go very long. Matt Riddle wins this match. I gotta say, this match was a 3 out of 5 stars. After the match is over, he calls out King Corbin because he is sick and tired of King Corbin's bullshit. King Corbin's promo is absolutely the same old bullshit as usual. He's the king. He doesn't need to meet his demands and blah, blah, blah. And he should go ahead and, schedule an appointment or something. Like he's some busy guy. Like he's been doing a lot on WWE Smackdown. For God's sakes, the man hasn't even won a fucking singles title yet. Intercontinental, Universal. Hell, he hasn't even won the 24/7 7-Eleven Championship Fruit Roll-Up belt. Okay? So, let's get real here. This is a fucking joke. This is just a match for King Corbin to put over Matt Riddle. And would we please stop calling him King Corbin? I'm going to stop doing that. He's Baron Corbin now. Because I don't care whether or not he's being called that. That needs to stop. It's been over a fucking year. Let's give it a rest, huh? Fucking blows. So, you definitely know that there's going to be a match between Matt Riddle and Baron Corbin at the SummerSlam pay-per-view. I'm okay with the idea. I would have rather seen Matt Riddle be facing AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam, but we get what we get with WWE, and we either can like it or dislike it. Doesn't matter what happens, that's what we're going to get, and that's what I see is going to happen at this point. I don't see Matt Riddle getting a shot for AJ's title for a while. Maybe in October. But there is someone that I'm very interested in seeing beating in the near future for the IC Championship. And I will tell you that once I get to that point, which I do believe we are at. So, let me see here. No, actually, that is not the case. We are not at that point yet. Alright. So, yeah, the next thing that's on the next segment, I should say, is Miz TV. Oh, God. This is one of the segments I could have lived without. And I think everyone can agree with me on this one. This was god-awful. This was terrible. They go about talking about John Morrison, putting a hashtag saying that we need more of John Morrison. Now, I would agree with that. I think John Morrison deserves a better push than what he's gotten with this company. I think him being tagged with The Miz is an absolute travesty. I think it's ridiculous. So they keep harping on that, and they're talking about hashtags, pretty much taking shots at their fans, which I don't quite understand the logic behind taking shot at your own fans that bring you money. Now, apparently, Vince McMahon has figured out other avenues, I should say, or paths to getting money from other places. Kudos to him. Fantastic, especially in the world we live in right now where people are having a hard time making money anyway. But my God, man, your ratings continuously drop week after week. Why not take the opportunity to gain those viewers back? I mean, NXT was doing a good job, despite the fact they were counteracting AEW and not being themselves like they were this past Wednesday, which I greatly appreciate by them. and actually building towards their fucking pay-per-view, which they should have been doing for the last couple of weeks. But, of course, we have to counteract and try to gain viewership, only to drop down 200,000 views compared to what AEW did. I mean, it's one thing to lose. I mean, I'm an okay person when it comes to losing if I lose, but losing in a burial like they did this past week, I'd be a little pissed off, you know? But losing by a couple of thousands of people, that's one thing. But losing by 200,000 people, I'd be pretty fucking pissed off if I was Triple H right now. And the entire NXT roster. So I'd be looking for ways to going ahead and producing a good show without copying off of what the competition is doing. Because it just makes you look fucking desperate. But maybe that's the case. I don't know. But now, I was going to produce my own video on the Give Naomi a Chance hashtag that was going on Twitter and social media for a while. And I'm just going to do it right here. Earlier this week, we had Booker T talk about how he says to hell with the fans and to hell with everyone deserves better bullshit and blah, 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 blah. And he says a lot of cockamamie shit that I just think he was just high on something, puffing the magic dragon or something. So, sucka, Booker T, here you can put this in your pipe and smoke it, okay? If it wasn't, the bottom line is, in 2003 at WrestleMania 19, buddy, you were going ahead and looking like you were going to become the face of Monday Night Raw. You went from being in WWE for 2 years, never getting a world championship opportunity technically, except for the Elimination Chamber match, which you were like the second person eliminated. And you didn't do nothing since. Never got a one-on-one match. You faced Triple H at fucking WrestleMania 19, have one of the best matches on the card outside of Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, and you looked great in the match, and you looked like you were going to overcome every obstacle thrown in your way, and yet at the end of the day, you get hit with a fucking pedigree. You roll over on your back to help Triple H get the pinfall because you landed on your face. And then he puts a hand over you and pins you 1, 2, 3. And that's your moment in the sun right there. And you lose. So now we see a Survivor Series. I almost was trying to say SummerSlam. That was not the case. Survivor Series in 2004. Getting a shot against JBL, the WWE champion at the time, who was fucking just pure lucky, winning every single time he was in a match. And you look like you're going to kick his ass. And then you end up losing to him anyway. Now granted, let me put it this way. Maybe that would have been... the reasoning behind that is JBL was supposed to lose it to John Cena at WrestleMania 21, which I'm totally okay with. I thought that was the right thing to do. Because you can't have Booker T being a face and John Cena coming in and being a face at the same time. That would have been really stupid. So, that one I'll let slide. But the one kicker... The one kicker and the other thing about Booker T losing to Triple H for the world title, just for the sake of Bill Goldberg coming in to face Triple H and being the only WCW superstar to not lose to Triple H, and Triple H loses to Goldberg, was god-awful, and in the end, his title reign was worthless. It was the worst title reign I think Goldberg ever had, at all his title reigns. Oh yeah, well, the Universal title reign, which was garbage altogether anyway, both of them, may I add, was garbage. So, bottom line, the one opportunity you become the World Heavyweight Champion, you have to change your character. You have to change into King Booker, the world's worst character I've ever seen in my fucking life, where you have to take your accent and change it into a fucking Britain character or some kind of shit like that from the UK, from Europe, and change it and come across like a complete schmuck. I didn't like it. I thought it was garbage, and I thought it was lame. So, I didn't like that version of Booker T, and that was the only time he ever became World Heavyweight Champion. He had to turn into a goofball idiot. And in that title reign, he only faced Batista throughout that entire title reign. And a couple of title defenses he had against some other people in some matches I probably don't even remember. So there you go. There's Booker T's career in the WWE, where he maybe should have had at least 2 title reigns that were meaningful. And we didn't get that. We could have seen Booker T win the world title in 2006 as a heel character, beating Rey Mysterio and just being himself like he has been, but he had to be King Booker because he won the King of the Ring tournament. Fucking ridiculous. And then, Booker T should have won the world title in 2003 at WrestleMania 19. I still say to this day, and it was almost 20 years ago of this day when it happened, that I still say Booker T should have won that fucking match. Hands down. I think that was the worst booking decision of all time. He was super hot going in, and I think it would have worked out fine for him. Gave him some kind of run with the title for a little while. And, I mean, you could have given it back to Triple H or something, and then maybe done the thing you did with Goldberg if you wanted to. But whatever. So let's get back into the show. That's my overall take on that. So, Booker T, if you want to go ahead and say Naomi doesn't deserve a chance, well, guess what, pal? You never got a real chance, and you should have never had a chance to be in WWE, period. Because your ass was working for WCW. This woman has been loyal to this company from day one. She has been up and down with this company. In some points, she has been in a high end of her career and very low where she's not even shown on TV, period. And yet she's still with this company to this day, trying to get their attention some way, somehow. I don't think she is lacking the intrigue to want to do better. And I don't think she's trying to, give up on what she wants to do in this company and be something special. So, bottom line, guys, she goes all out. She's introduced by Miz and Morrison. They're making jokes and being humorous and blah, blah, blah. And she goes ahead and she says, look, I've been here for 10 plus years. Doing it week after week, day after day, doing whatever everything this company asked from me, and I never gave up. I'm doing whatever they tell me to do, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, whether I agree with it or not. I'm still here, and I sure as hell deserve an opportunity. I deserve to be something, and she does. She deserves, if it's not a championship match, let it be in some kind of rivalry, some kind of importance at least. Not karaoke fucking bullshit segments and bullshit. I mean, granted, again, I will say this. I don't care if Naomi ever does anything in this company because she never really intrigued me. But to the others that are in the majority, if they are saying she deserves it, well, fuck, man. Put her in there, man. I'm the minority, okay? I'm not going to always agree with the majority. But bottom line, if the majority is saying they want to see her more, put her in there. I totally agree with the majority in this one. I'm being unbiased here. So you do what the majority of the crowd wants. And if the majority of the crowd wants to see this woman be a part of this program, have airtime, and be in important storylines, or important grudge matches, or title matches even, then you put her in there. And you give her a shot and see what she can do. And if people are not tuning in for her, then at that point, then you know what to do. But give her an opportunity to shine in a good situation. If you don't put her in a good situation, it's not going to mean anything. You're just throwing her on there just for the sake of throwing her on there. That's like going ahead and saying you're going to do a favor for someone. You do the favor, but you half-ass it. It's stupid. Makes no sense. As usual with WWE. But that's pretty much this. So that's pretty much that in a nutshell. So anyway, after she does her spiel and pretty much states what she has to say about the whole situation, Lacey Evans comes down. She talks a little bit of smack. They both talk smack. And then Naomi shoves her and messes up Lacey Evans' makeup, and she kind of pisses and moans on the outside of the ring, being upset about that. Big fucking deal. And then we are announced later on in the show that Naomi and Lacey Evans are going at it for a third time in a whole fucking month. Can we get any more creative, WWE? Please. This is boring ass shit. Give Naomi a chance? Yeah. We keep wishing and we keep praying, but do we ever get what we want? Of course not. Because WWE doesn't care about us. Quite frankly, I don't think we should care either. Why I'm even doing these reviews, I have no fucking idea except for this damn YouTube channel. So, and I keep repeating myself like WWE keeps repeating themselves. So what are you gonna do? Anyway, we see some highlights from the Cesaro Shinsuke Nakamura match, defeating New Day to capture the Smackdown Tag Team titles from Extreme Rules. Big E is backstage pacing around. Kofi Kingston walks out of the trainer's room and says he will be out of action for 6 weeks, or even maybe more. So Kofi is looking forward to spending time with the family, and Big E wants Kofi to heal up. They talk about focusing to get the titles back. Kofi says maybe the universe is trying to talk to them. He and Xavier Woods are both out now, so maybe it's Big E's time. Kofi goes on to say it's all about Big E now. He says that maybe he should start focusing on his career and doing the same thing Kofi Kingston did when he became WWE Champion, and Big E pretty much was very unselfish. Cared more about Kofi Kingston and the team as a whole, and he wanted to see Kofi succeed. Now, they're pretty much playing this role where Kofi wants to see Big E do the same thing he did on his own. And that is the storyline we're going here with. Now, I'm going to say this, and you guys tell me what you guys think about my idea here about good old Big E. I honestly think that Big E should go on a big winning streak here. We should get a major focal point of him throughout the entire fall, through the winter, into the Royal Rumble. And we should see Big E win the Intercontinental title from AJ Styles in October, maybe, and then see him keeping the championship all the way through, leading into WrestleMania, and losing the Intercontinental title before WrestleMania, maybe like just before the Royal Rumble or just after the Royal Rumble when he wins the Royal Rumble match. Yes, folks, that is what I'm saying. I think Big E should get an opportunity at winning the Royal Rumble and going to WrestleMania to challenge for the WWE Universal Championship. That's my thoughts in a nutshell on Big E, and the storyline behind Big E at this point, I think would be fantastic. And I think that would be a great deal. I think people would be super excited, and it would give Big E an opportunity to really shine in his career and get to that high point, that highest point in his career he could possibly get, and really shine in that spotlight. I think he'll do a fantastic job. He has a lot of charisma, a lot of character, and if he continues to play the character he's been doing in New Day and portray it on his own, he will get a ton of interest from fans and interest in watching the product. I see him as a guy that could bring in some ratings. I really do. He just never got the opportunity to do it on his own. Kofi did. Kofi didn't really get the same kind of pop. And I think that's because Vince McMahon didn't see the same thing he might see in Big E. I think Big E's got a better chance because he's bigger, he's stronger, and so forth. So he plays up to the look that Vince McMahon's looking for. So why not give him an opportunity? What, is it because he's black? I think you're fucking crazy if that's the case. I hope that's not the case, but the way this company has issued out blacks in this company and made them not seem important really makes me question that thought. That conspiracy theory or that idea. So, that's pretty much that. Fatal 4-Way number 1 contenders match for the IC Championship. Folks, the people that were in this match, you would not believe, would even have a shot at beating AJ Styles for that title, number 1. And number 2, who the fuck thinks that any of these guys are number 1 contenders or challengers for the IC Championship? Which, by the way, 2 of which are part of the Lucha House Party. They're a tag team. What the fuck are they doing in an individual singles competitor matchup for a singles title? Again, folks, what about tag team wrestling? SmackDown doesn't have any tag team titles any tag team challengers for the tag team champions to defend their titles. We have nothing right now. Nothing. Nobody to defend the titles against. We just have tag team champions in Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. My God, folks, we got a ton to look forward to in SmackDown tag team wrestling. My God, he might as well just go ahead and disembowelish the tag team titles both on Raw and SmackDown and say tag team wrestling is dead in WWE. Bottom line. I don't understand it. But yeah, Shorty G, Drew Gulak, which I would say is probably worthy enough to be in a number 1 contenders match since he is a former challenger for the IC Championship. Unfortunately, lost to AJ, but he had a good match. And then we had Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado, which, again, like I said, is part of the Lucha House Party. Why they're getting individual opportunities for IC title when they should be focused on tag team titles, I don't know. But Gran Metalik actually wins this fucking match. Match was fun, was entertaining. Chad Gable did a great job, and I'm sorry I called him Shorty G. He doesn't deserve to be called that, just because he's shorter than most of the male wrestlers. But yeah, the match was good. I can't deny that. Match overall, I would say this match was a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Definitely a decent matchup. And that's pretty much all that I have to say on that. After the match was over, Gran Metalik was offered a handshake by AJ Styles. He didn't want to shake his hand at first because he was worried that he might do something, which he did. He slapped him across the head. Said, okay, well, this is the reason why you don't trust anybody. I wonder who I heard that from. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Anyway. So, that's that. And we're going to be getting that match next week. No build for a SummerSlam opponent for AJ to defend the IC Championship against. We're just going to see him go ahead and face someone on SmackDown that definitely doesn't have a shot in hell of beating him for the title. And if he does, folks, I can't review this show no more. I really can't. That would be a travesty in itself. We get some bullshit with Otis. I mean, I understand he's the Money in the Bank briefcase winner, and yet he's not being highlighted on the show. Maybe there's some explanation. Maybe he's been sick. Maybe he's worried about the pandemic and they didn't want him to possibly get sick from someone since he is the Money in the Bank briefcase winner. So maybe they wanted to give him some time off and bring him back when it's a little bit more under control, quote unquote, for the coronavirus. So, they highlight some of their Mandy Rose and Otis's little love story that they built up, and they're going to bring them back next week. Whoop-de-doo. Can't wait. That is sarcasm. Alright. So, SmackDown Tag Team Champions Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura brag about how they made Kofi Kingston go splat. That's the big word by good old Shinsuke Nakamura. Go splat. Everybody in the tag team division is going to go splat. Sorry, Shinsuke. Sorry, Cesaro. But the tag team division has gone splat. They are flat on their fucking faces and they ain't getting up from the 10 count. They're fucking out. This division is dead as dead can get. Sorry, but you guys have no division to defend those titles over and rule the tag team mountain. There is no tag team mountain. It is dead as dead can get. It is flat as a fucking rock. Or pavement, whatever. You get my point. It's fucking terrible. And then the main event, the bar fight, Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy. This match, folks, is the kind of cinematic movie type matchups we should be seeing. A match that's taking place outside of a wrestling ring in a different type of environment. If we would have had a referee for the swamp fight match and we actually got a 1-2-3 or a submission or a knockout of some sort, having the referee declare that this match has to be over by technical knockout or something of that kind of nature, the match would have been good. But we didn't have a match. It was more like a promo cinematic movie. This was a cinematic movie that was a match. Like Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's match. Or like fucking Undertaker and AJ Styles match at WrestleMania 36. The rest of these have been an absolute joke. And pretty retarded, may I add. But this wasn't. This was a very entertaining match. And it had an ending and a winner. And Jeff Hardy was that winner. He hit the Swanton Bomb off of a ladder and got the 1-2-3. And that is how the show ended, with him winning. And he actually transformed into a different type of Jeff Hardy. I hope they build on this. I hope they create something like a different type of Jeff Hardy. Like a similar version of the broken Matt Hardy character, only where he's not doing the goofy, yes, it's glorious, you know, that kind of thing. But more along the lines like his own type of thing. Like a baby face type of thing like Bray Wyatt, only as a baby face. Not like Bray Wyatt being totally like the Fiend. It wouldn't work. But Jeff Hardy being in that kind of nature, but as a face, like Undertaker was. Undertaker was a guy that was intimidating, but he also was beloved by the fans. I mean, you could do something like that with Jeff Hardy's character here, the way they did it tonight. So, kudos to them. I hope they continue with this and make him very mysterious and entertaining. And bring on a totally new Jeff Hardy than this Hardy Boys type character that he's been doing for many, many years. So I hope we see something different Jeff Hardy. And I hope it's great. Because I think he really is an entertaining guy. I think he brings a lot to the table. And if they do it right, he could bring himself back to stardom again and be a big time player in WWE. But only time can tell, and that depends on what WWE does with him. But at this time, guys, you know the deal. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the Oh yeah, by the way, the rating on that match was a 4 out of 5 stars. Hands down, was a great match. I enjoyed it, and I thought it was entertaining. It did have its moments where I just really disliked, like the part they shoved Jeff Hardy's head in a urinal stall and had water coming on his face from them flushing the toilet. I thought that was fucking disgusting, but that's Vince McMahon's sick, demented humor. He thinks that's what people want to see, and I think he's a fucking retard. But you guys know what to do now at this point in time. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below, and I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you very much for watching, and have a great night, guys. Goodbye.